Welcome to the Rise to the Challenge podcast. Joined today, he's an executive business and personal coach, international speaker, and high performance athlete. It's Shane Mulgrew. How are you doing today, Shane?
Hello, Alex. How you doing? Thanks for having me.
We're doing so good. We're so excited to have you on the show to talk about your Rise to the Challenge. What we like to do with all of our guests is go right to the beginning. Talk about where you're from and what were you involved in growing up?
I'm from Ireland, the north of Ireland. So we are still in the UK, but we're still in a part of Ireland as well, obviously. So we'll not get into those details. But yeah, it's a really normal childhood. I know sometimes when people do these little chats, there's always something that happens when you're a young child, or some moment of maybe trauma or what you've been through. But for me, yeah, an amazing childhood. School, I probably just wasn't very into school or education as much as I am now, let's say. I was just a young person, had amazing supportive parents, and I was obsessed with anything that involved sport, really.
As a kid, were you just interested in all different sports, or was there ever one thing that you kind of were like, I just want to focus on that?
Yeah, I was obsessed with them all. I was sort of lucky because anything that involved activity, I was just good at it. You know, I was sort of one of them people that could naturally be good at any sort of sport or any sort of activity, you know. But definitely Gaelic football here in Ireland, it's a major thing, and then obviously soccer. So those two were my main, I suppose, sports that I spent most of my time doing.
Did you train hard for those sports as you were growing up, or did you kind of like any kid just get out on the field, play because school is just there, but this is what I love doing. This is what I look forward to in my day or my weekends.
Yeah, absolutely. I used to train very hard. I wanted to be a professional footballer, a professional athlete. So I would train by myself. When I look back as a young person, probably something I don't do is appreciate the effort and commitment I did put in, especially when a lot of other people maybe were messing about playing on game consoles. Let's say I was out practicing and trying to be better, which I don't really remind myself of enough, you know, as a young person. But yeah, I used to train every day of the week at either Gaelic or soccer or any other sorts of sports, you know.
Why did you feel that you wanted to be an athlete? Out of all the different jobs out there, why was that the one thing you wanted to do?
I just enjoyed well, first of all, soccer and Gaelic. I just enjoyed doing it, and as I said, I was good at it naturally. And then obviously we had to improve, but I just liked that lifestyle. So I was a big Manchester United fan, if you know Manchester United, and I followed them, and some my father, my family are fans of soccer as well. And just the lifestyle, it seemed so much simpler than getting a job, you know. It was the type of life that I wanted as a young person. That's all I looked at. I did not think I was going to be anything else. That was it. But then I suppose as I became an adult, I was maybe 17 or 18. That's when I realized that wasn't going to be the career for me.
You mentioned Manchester United. Was there any athletes that you were inspired by that kind of gave you that kind of momentum to go and be an athlete?
Yeah, I was a major fan of Roy Keane. He was my favorite player because he's from Ireland, and he was, I suppose, the leader of the ship. He was the captain, and he was ruthless as well. He was nearly feared by others, you know, and I loved that. I loved his character, his charisma, the way he led people. He didn't care about anything else other than winning, and he was just a true athlete, a true performer every single day, consistently. I just love that, and even today, I'm still a major fan of his. You know.
Did you see those characteristics in yourself? As like sometimes we see these athletes, and you're like, oh, their story is similar to mine, or they do the same kind of style as I do. Did you kind of see that with him?
Yeah, definitely. I read his book. He has two books out. I read his book, and some of his stories as a young person were very relatable. So that's what really, I suppose, dragged me and made me connect with him even more so. it's just the same sort of like failures that he had to endure and conquer. Again, being Irish, and I suppose some of the traits that he had in regards to leadership. I really wanted to be that type of leader. You know, I was quite quiet growing up. I was really, really shy, probably insecure within myself, but you probably wouldn't have known that as you watched me maybe perform. But I wanted his characteristics in regards to leadership. Definitely, I wanted to be more like that, you know, with my other teammates.
I think that's what makes athletes great, is when they're open to the fan base, where they're able to share those things. Because I think a lot of people look at them and see, oh, I can relate. And that's how people connect with them more. Then you see these athletes who try to put that kind of, oh, I can't be broken, I can't be phased by anything. But being real and authentic just is a true characteristic in these athletes, because if they don't have that fan base, they're not going to make a lot of money, because people are buying merchandise from them and so much more. And especially when you said the athlete wrote books, they didn't have that connection with the fans, no one would be buying those books.
Yeah, exactly. It's, I suppose people connect to what's relatable to them, and people really like vulnerability. So people like superstars and elite athletes showing their vulnerabilities, because it makes them seem more like them. You know, it makes them seem more real, and that's again that definitely is why others, like you'll see athletes today, they're still appealing to me, is because I suppose right now I'm still a high performing athlete within CrossFit, so I can completely relate to them, because I know what they're going through. I know the pain of doing extremely difficult exercises, and feeling like you've got no energy, or that you can't go on, but for some reason you conquer the mind, so to speak. So I still love to watch athletes perform, and to see what they put themselves through, because I'm doing it myself. You know, it's relatable, and I think we all have a vulnerable side as well, which is why we're human beings, and why we can always develop and improve. You know.
With going into university, or the thought of university, was soccer the main trajectory for that? Did you want to play while you're at university, or just go right into the big leagues?
No, soccer at university isn't a big thing. You know, it's especially here. It's more probably where I'm at. I'm about 30 minutes from Belfast City. That's where all the main universities are, and soccer wouldn't be a big thing. You know, it'd be more Gaelic football, and probably other sports. Whereas you'd have to go over to England, for them university. So they're more focused on soccer. I think with university, it's always still sport isn't a big thing. I know in America it is with university, but it's still your professional career is still way more important than any sort of sporting career here in Ireland anyway.
So what was that next step for you? What was the direction and path you were on?
So when I realized that professional sports career wasn't going to be for me, or at least I thought at that stage, I had to find something else, and I went from wanting to be I'm really excited about becoming a professional footballer, and then when that's taken away from you, you're sort of a wee bit lost, and I didn't know what to do. And I just knew I had to do something that was going to help me get paid money, you know. And as a young person, you don't really know what that is. So I started working at a building site, to be honest, on a construction site, and I said that was really testing time, because I didn't enjoy it. A lot of people that I worked with didn't, you know, they hated their lives, you know, they didn't enjoy their work, and that became a part of me then. So probably for about 2 or 3 years, I was trying so many different jobs, and I suppose the great thing, I did learn a lot, you know, I learned so much, and I opened up, because I was, each job that I did, may it be working on a building site with grown men, or working in the sales. So I was a regional sales manager for a sales company. I worked in I manufactured a manufacturing plant. I worked for in pharmaceuticals, so I'd done sort of everything. And I had to open up and connect with people more, which I was really, really bad at. So as much as it was a really testing and challenging time for me internally, because I didn't know, where I was going. I had no path to any sort of form of success. I still, I developed a lot of skills, I would say, in different ways and doing all those different jobs. But definitely I would say the most challenging time in my life, because I just spent about 3 to 4 years going through like roller coaster emotions and being really unhappy. And I didn't know why I felt this way. And I sort of thought life was nearly over in a way, because I was young and these are meant to be the happiest times of my life, and there's no way I could have continued on living unhappy for another like 50 to 60 years. I didn't even look that far ahead. I thought just life was sort of coming to an end for me, and that was sad, because I didn't understand why I was feeling that way, but I just knew I was unhappy in my day-to-day life.
You mentioned at the beginning that football was taken away from you. What was that reason why it was taken away from you initially?
Because in Ireland here, there's a certain age where you're offered a contract, a professional contract, and I suppose all that my teammates I played for my country, Northern Ireland, and they had all signed contracts, and I was actually the only one not to sign a professional contract, but I was still performing really, really, really well. I just didn't understand why, and I was then offered or told that I was going to be offered a contract with a professional football team, but there's an age difference from Ireland here to the UK, so it meant that I had to play a year or earlier or older. So there's a wee bit of a complication there, and then that's probably why I wasn't offered that contract due to my age, which was unfortunate. But again, everybody was telling me that just hang in there, stay in there, you will be offered something, but it didn't come. And I suppose I probably gave up on it, at the age of 18, and just went into full-time work. Whereas looking back, I should have stayed at it, I should have stuck at it and tried to get that contract. But I had no real mentors or nobody really advisors to tell me to keep going, because I suppose nobody really cared, nobody really cared if you were successful or not. It was only me that could do that. But yeah, that I was taken away. The way it worked is because I didn't have a professional contract, I was sort of fell down the pecking order in regards to the international team. And then I just, I was nearly playing second fiddle, and that's when I made the conscious decision, okay, I need to start making money here. I'm a young adult, so I went into full-time work.
Looking now with sports, a lot of times we see the new generation of athletes coming up, and they're always getting younger and younger and younger. At your time when you were going through that, was that something that was going on where the teams are seeing these new breeds of athletes coming up and they're not willing to take a risk maybe on someone older, even though they are qualified, they have the skill set and everything, but they just want to make sure that they can produce a new athlete up and coming?
Yeah, exactly. I think especially today, look, I'm 33 years of age, but I've never felt younger. I've never felt fitter in my life. I think that comes from just looking after yourself. But as I said, I'm 33, and there's 19 and 20-year-olds and 21-year-olds that can't keep up with me, and from an athleticism point of view. And that's not to say that I'm brilliant or anything. It's just, I suppose, a mindset. It's a mindset as much as just looking after yourself. And I love that. I love that the underdog type thing. You're too old, or you're too old for doing that or achieving that. I love that. It drives me on. But yeah, looking back, I think if I had got a wee bit of support from someone or something, then I could have kept going. But definitely, I think the amazing athletes are getting younger and younger and younger. I love that, because a lot of people think that you need to get job, a proper 9 to 5 job, and a degree, and then education. Whereas sport nowadays is a multi-billion-pound industry, or
Yeah.
dollar industry, and it's I could do athletics as a job every single day with no problem. And you always need something to jump out of bed for. So I think it's amazing that young people are really attaching to sports, and whatever it is they enjoy. That's the key. Is if you enjoy it and you love it, it's going to be easy for you to get up every day and do it. And yeah, you're right. There's young people coming through there that are absolutely amazing, and it's great to see.
I love how you mentioned the underdog story, because I kind of relate to that, where even in the industry I was in, where you had these people that were double my age, been in the company for double my age, and I had a lot to prove to these people. And where at the age you were with soccer, you had a lot to prove to get those contracts. I was in that same situation where I had to make my name notice. And I love being the underdog in anything, because what do I have to lose? I just got to go out there and do my best at 100%. And even when you mentioned where getting up every day, I think it just shows the passion these athletes have, where they're willing to risk it all. They're willing to not make much money to get to that dream, especially with minor leagues or developmental leagues that we see nowadays, where they're not making anything, but they love the sport that they do, and they want to go out there and just have fun, be that athlete.
Yeah, no, I think we all love an underdog story. We always cheer on the underdog, but yeah, I agree. It's what drives me on is when someone tells me I can't do something,
Yeah.
and this is probably why I work for myself as well. I don't really like to be told what to do. I like to lead my own ship, and but yeah, the underdog story. It's giving yourself a reason to do something, give yourself a reason to achieve that or hit a target. You need to give yourself that. If you have everything in life, or you've made all the money that you need to make, and you've been super successful, and you've got nothing really else to achieve, that's a sad life in the end up, because you've nothing to get out of bed for. This is why statistically you shouldn't really retire ever, because you need something to encourage you to get out of bed in the morning. But yeah, I think we all love that underdog story, and yeah, we see so many times where the underdog is pushed down, and they have no chance, whether it be a team or whether it be an individual, and just shows you conquering just by that. Maybe that story in itself can help an individual or a team really reach that performance standard that they need to win whatever it is they're trying to achieve.
While you were sharing the different jobs that you had, you mentioned something about you didn't feel yourself, or you didn't feel what you were needing to do. Did your friends or family notice a change in how you behaved, or how you were thinking, or your mindset during these hard times where you were going from different jobs because you didn't have soccer anymore?
I think only my parents. I was pretty good at hiding it. I was pretty good at hiding my feelings and my thoughts and what I was going through. I sort of, because I played sports, I still continue to play sport. Um, I was probably still seeing that I was happy. I was pretending to be happy. I think my parents noticed something when I started to indulge a wee bit more in alcohol at the weekends. And for someone in sport and playing, trying to achieve things, alcohol doesn't mix well. It's it's not good for you. Simple as that. And I was doing a wee bit too much of it, enjoying myself too much when it came to that side of things. My parents did start to notice that, okay, you're doing a bit of extra drinking here. But yeah, I just pretended everything was okay. I was like, yeah, I was at that stage where I'm an adult now to do what I want, and I don't have to listen to my parents. So we bit looking back, yeah, we bit silly, obviously, but it was just, I suppose, when you are sad and you're not feeling yourself, you need to fill that void. You have to fill your life with something. And I only knew, all I knew was, okay, look, if I take a drink here and go out and enjoy myself, at least I can be happy for a few hours. and deal with the emotional decline or the mental decline next morning, you know.
Was that kind of that lifestyle of an athlete you were wanting to live out? Was the kind of enjoying the night out on the weekends or during the week? Were you still trying to be able to do that, even though it wasn't being an athlete?
Yeah, I was still trying to, like, I was still playing like football. I was still playing sport, obviously, and I was still doing athletics, but I wasn't as serious about it. I wasn't trying to be a professional at it, you know. I was just doing it because I enjoyed it. But here in Ireland, it doesn't really matter what you're performing at. People still expect you to perform at the elite level, whether you're getting paid or not. Especially Gaelic football. Gaelic football is a professional sport in itself, although the performers don't get paid. They do get sponsorships and stuff now, but it's still not a paid income. So you're still meant to play for the jersey. You're meant to be still performing at the highest level you possibly can. And I was still trying to do that. And luckily enough, I suppose I was probably that good at performing. There's times I was drinking alcohol to maybe 6 a.m. and getting up and going playing a competitive Gaelic football match, and I was still performing well. But I think that's because I was so young. You know, I was able to. I think I felt guilty as well because I was drinking alcohol. I had to perform. Otherwise, someone would say, "Look, you were drinking last night." So, yeah, it was a really challenging time. It was, looking back, and not a good idea, but something I suppose I had to just go through. You know,
being an athlete in present time, what's your favorite part about it?
I love doing things that my body thinks it can't, you know, and the things that we do as CrossFit athletes, I suppose people think you're a wee bit crazy or a wee bit mad doing those things. I sort of love that. I love doing things that other people really wouldn't even think of doing, you know, when it comes to athletics and performance. And again, there's so many times, and probably every day, where you tell yourself that, look, this is, you're not going to finish this. You're going to fail here. You need to give up. And for some reason, you just keep going. And I think it's that aspect of it. It's pushing your body so far that it wants to stop, but you keep going. I love that. I mean, athleticism and CrossFit and playing sport, I just do it today because I just love it. I just enjoy it so much. It generates so much positive energy and happiness within me, and it's what I'm meant to do. It's where I really show up, you know. But yeah, I just love that. I love that. Being seen as especially in athletics, you do get to an age where people start to say, "Oh, you're getting old. You're getting old." So, 33 for me is still
that's still young.
Still a really young person, you know. So, but I like when people say, or young people come into the sport or CrossFit athletics, and you're maybe 13, 14 years older than them, but you're performing at a higher level. I love that. And again, that's just for me. It's not that I'm better or anything like that. It's more just, it's something that I tell myself, okay, I need to perform here because there's people watching, or there's people that want you to feel. It just sort of stimulates something in me to prove people wrong, you know.
First time I ever saw CrossFit, I kind of thought it was obstacles mixed with weight training, kind of with fun challenges in a way. And I think I saw it on ESPN one day. And I'm like, these people are crazy doing these things. I'm like, I'm barely can do a pull-up and I'm young, but I also don't train as much as you guys do. If someone that's listening to this has no idea what CrossFit is, and you could explain it in a couple sentences, what is CrossFit?
It's every sport and every form of physical activity rolled into one sport, basically. That's why I love it. So there's nothing that they don't do. They do bits of every sport, you know, and it's just combined. And again, about CrossFit is there is professional athletes, but there's people that are just starting, and there's people that are maybe have decades of of experience in it, but they still perform in the same class.
Mhm.
That's what I love about it, is you're performing with the elite. If you feel like, maybe, I know you mentioned you can't do a pull-up, but you would still come into a class and be performing with other elite athletes that can do maybe 100 pull-ups. But I think that's great, is that you're still seen at a par. You're not seen as any less than anyone else because you can't do a pull-up. Really, for you, it's okay. I'm looking at these elite guys and girls, and I want to be there myself. So it actually drags you and pushes you on. So you will get that first pull-up, that 10th pull-up, that 20th, because you're working with other elite guys. And that's what I love about it. It's a real, really, 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 it's sort of like Gaelic football. It's a really strong community, and CrossFit's very much like that as well. And I love being part of. And I suppose we will get into the business side of things, but I feel with Gaelic football, CrossFit, and then the business community, I think they're strong communities to be a part of. You feel like you're a part of something, that you're a part of, like a larger family, And I think that's really, really important, in life, where, especially when we dive into mental health, and when people do go through struggle, if you're a part of loads of different communities, you've got loads of people you can turn to for help and support. And that's the best part about it, I think, CrossFit, and these communities that we're a part of.
Talk about that business aspect of it.
Yeah. So in business, and I had to learn this, not recently, but I suppose the last couple of years, is the success of your business is based on, I suppose, the strength of your relationships.
Mhm.
If you're bad with relationships, or you don't continue to develop your relationships, your business will always have limitations. Whereas I found that just developing relationships with people, either personally or professionally, you will have business for life. You will have customers, or potential customers, or at least a connection to your perfect customers from the
Yep.
relationships that you continue to develop. And that's something that really has um, been amazing to learn, because a lot of people in business today think that they need to invest a little money to start a business, whereas you're already rich if you've got strong relationships. You can already make money today if you've got strong relationships. And I think that's really, really, really important if you are starting a business, or you're in business right now, and maybe business isn't going the way that you want it to. You can earn money from relationships that you've developed, through the day you were born, essentially.
If anyone that's listening follows you, you post videos about being real and authentic. And we kind of talked about this earlier in our interview about being real and opening up about the struggles. You talk about your business adventures and how you kind of went and kind of followed in a certain footstep of another business, but you kind of had to make it your own. Talk about being real and about that, and how when people are hearing you share, do they see that similarity in what they're going through with their business because you've been so open about it?
Yeah, that's important, because I probably didn't always do it that way. I was probably a fake it till you make it type guy, and I really hated that. I hated being something I wasn't on social media, because I was just trying to be something. I was just trying to look like I was successful to get to work with people and to earn money, and to provide my service. And yeah, look, it worked to an extent. And luckily, because I have a really good upbringing, um, I'm still a good guy, wholeheartedly. I'll always be that, good guy, nice guy, I think, because of the way my parents have raised me. But yeah, I spent a long time being something I wasn't. And like, you'll see professional photos being taken, and in today's world, you're maybe seen as you're already successful, whereas now I get more credibility from just being myself and just being real. The reality is, today I still have tough days. I still have challenges. I'm not far from perfect, and but I'm real, and the people I work with are really lucky, because when they pay me for a service, or to reach a particular goal or target, I put my whole self into that, and because I know how hard it is in today's world to start a business, to grow, to wonder if you're working with someone that's actually genuine and sincere. And I want to be that guy. So um, I think it's really, really important to be yourself, and because that's the best person you can be is yourself. And
Yeah.
I luckily had to learn that. I felt, especially with, you'll see on Instagram, you'll see a lot of influencers and portraying that they are something when they're not. Whereas I was probably that guy. I was probably the person pretending to be successful. Whereas now I just want to be myself. I just put up fitness videos because that's just me. I do some motivational like talks and stuff like that. I think they're important because you are trying to inspire people as well. But that's me. I love talking on stage. I love trying to influence people to better themselves and to live a good life. And then high performance is just that's me. That's who I am. I'm a high performer. I need that in my life, so I showcase that to people, and that's the way I am in business as well.
As you've been on this entrepreneurial journey, has there ever been a different business style or business adventure you ever wanted to go on? Or do you feel that you're comfortable where you're at and you just want to succeed at that business right now?
No, I always want to get uncomfortable. Definitely. I think when you look at my business to date, I've just evolved so much. I've worked within so many other target markets, and I suppose this is why I help people from a business perspective, because I sort of, if they're working with a target market per se, I have to be able to give them help and support and advice in that market. But I think I don't want to ever stand still. I don't want to ever, like what I'm doing now, I would probably do it for a year, 2 years and move on. I think that's just me. I just want to continue to try different things. I will always look at, I just think I look at my life and I've never really given up on anything, life wise. So I always say, look, life will always be okay for me. It's for some reason, life has always worked out for me, for some reason. And I love that. I love that knowing life's just always going to be okay. It's going to be, it's going to be good. Um, but I think in business, I don't want to do the same thing. I couldn't picture myself doing something for 30 years.
Mhm.
Um, Again, everybody's different, but like people like to have be such an expert or have such a niche that they are the go-to guy, and I get that. I definitely do. But for me, I think it's exciting just being a student, just not knowing the answers and saying to yourself, okay, I'm going to need to learn this or develop this and better myself to get to that level. So I like that. I like challenging myself and being not being the smartest person in the room. I know that's sort of maybe cliche in today's world. Maybe you've probably heard that before, but I generally think I like to have conversations with people that know more than I do, or that are smarter than me, or that have achieved things that I haven't yet. I like that challenge.
I think it's always good to learn something new every day. And that's how I am, where I know I don't know everything. I tell myself I'm not perfect, but I want to become the greatest version of myself. So any chance I get to learn from someone, I see that as success for that day, because I'm developing skills, I'm developing knowledge, because you never know, you could introduce that topic to someone else that wants to learn from you. So I always view that as something great in this today's world, where we're able to learn so much. It's now our opportunity to get out there and learn any way we can.
Exactly. We're all students of life here. At the end of life, nobody really knows what happens. Um, so we're always learning. We're just trying to. I always think where I maybe failed, I would say, in regards to life aspect of life, is I always thought I'd be happy when I get to a certain pillar or success pillar or target, whereas really I just needed to be happy now
Mhm.
and live my life now. And that's why I'm here, I suppose, is as I wake up every day and say, look, this is a day in the life of Shane, and I'm going to try and focus on being happy here. I'm going to try and help someone today, but I'm going to live. I'm going to live it, and I'm going to be present. Whereas a lot of people in business are waiting till they achieve that big number, whether it be 10K a month or 100K a month or a million a year. They think their happiness is the result. It was really, it's today, it's here now, you know.
Has there been a big change in your diet and training from as a soccer player to a CrossFit athlete?
Yeah, it's nutrition's an interesting one. There's no right answer when it comes to nutrition. I think, again, if you look back at the influencers and social media portraying that one thing's better than another, I think when I look back at my life, my body has changed. It's went up and down, and I've got heavier, I've got lighter, I've got more muscle mass, I've got less muscle mass. It all depends just on the routine that you've set yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the most important. If you can get into a really balanced and healthy routine, then you always be healthy. You know, it's some people think that they need to be in a program and do it for 6 weeks, whereas that's not really natural. You know, it's not really that normal. It's not very enjoyable either. So it's really about, okay, looking at your routine, looking at what you want to achieve. Obviously, look, there's healthier foods than others, so you have to make some conscious sacrifices there in regards to high sugar foods. But yeah, finding that balance is so important in building a routine and being a high performer. In soccer, yeah, it's a lot more. I suppose you have to be a wee bit lighter, I would say, and faster on your feet. Whereas CrossFit it's very much there's no one fits all. You know, you can be any shape, any size, heavier, stronger, but still have challenges and still have someone that's maybe better than you or performing better. I think that's the beauty of it. Whereas soccer, they are elite athletes. They have to cover a lot of grass, and it's very cardiovascular, and a lot of maybe 100 different sprints in a game. Whereas CrossFit's not like that. It's basically a mixture of anything. You have to be a wee bit heavier, build a lot more muscle. It's two totally different sports. But again, I would say soccer athletes and CrossFit athletes, they have a balance. I would say they have their own routine that works for them or each individual. And that's why they are elite, is because they're getting professional advice on all that as well. So food is definitely directly connected to performance for sure.
So what does the future look like for you? What are you hoping to accomplish in the next few years, both personally and professionally?
So right now we've got a business model that I feel is so important. It's emotionally connected to their customer, to the service that they provide, and it's a model. It's a model that I've created and invested in with a few other mentors and entrepreneurs. So I feel like I actually used to call it a business in a box, because it had everything you needed to basically generate high ticket revenue online. And by high ticket, I mean 10K offers, £10,000 or $10,000 offers, $25,000 offers, or $100,000 offers. So I feel we've got this model now. I think in the world we live in today, it's important to understand that you do need to evolve with the times.
Mm-hmm.
And that's always important, and I will continue to do that. But right now you've got a really interesting model that we start off with the emotional connection that you have with your prospects and your clients. And I think that's so important, is because you get a client on board. Okay, you get to generate at the very least $10,000 for your client, but also because you're emotionally connected to them, they are now nearly a part of the family, a part of the community, and they will refer you. And I think that's important. Something I really had to learn was the people that trusted me and invested in me and paid me the high ticket offers, I never utilized the relationship or truly connected. Whereas this last few years, I I see my clients as family now, and they're part of a community. And where that's so important is we build a real trust and loyalty and emotional connection. And what that brings is then referrals. And the big word referrals is, it's the fastest, most effective, most efficient way to grow a business. Okay. And if you have loads of amazingly emotionally connected relationships, you can have referrals for life. And that's where you don't have to spend money on the ad campaigns, the social media marketing, and spend so much time on the laptop grinding and staring at a laptop. You really just have to pick up the phone and ask your developed relationships for help, support, or a new client. I think that's the beauty of the model that we've built, you know.
Have you taken that model similar to how you mentioned about the CrossFit community, where everyone's there to support each other and help each other, and how your clients can either go to each other and kind of learn from each other, even though maybe they're in different industries and things like that?
Exactly. I think it's when you feel you're a part of something. That's the most important thing. It's when you just know you're a part of something really great here. And I think that's what CrossFit and probably Gaelic football, the community, Gaelic football here in Ireland is amazing. You feel a part of something. And the great thing is, when you feel a part of something, you just do things for other people, not naturally. You don't need, like, when you're networking in professional groups, people want paid all the time. Okay, they want paid money all the time. Whereas when you're a part of these communities, you just help people naturally and support people naturally. And that's the beauty of these strong communities, that like Gaelic football, CrossFit, and now the community, the entrepreneurial community that we're building here. People know that they're going to be a part of something here, something really, really special, something family oriented. But as I say, and this is a major thing, is that will help you financially become abundant. And I think when we speak of happiness, it has to connect to money. It has to connect to money, because the world we live in, we need money. And that's what I want to help people is, okay, money isn't the be all and end all, but you will absolutely generate a lot of revenue here when you're part of this community. And that's something that I've always wanted to build. I want to build something that is for the people, you know, it's going to help them create the freedom in their life, because the reason I do what I do is for freedom. And freedom is just a big word in my life, because I've never liked being restricted. I've never liked being caged. I've never liked being controlled or told what to do. And there's something just amazing about feeling free, you know, whether it be in business or your personal life or in your relationship. I think if you've got that freedom to financially purchase your dream home or the nice car that you like, that's important as well. But you get to provide for your family, your loved ones as well. So I think that word's so important to me, you know.
The final question I'll ask you, for someone that's listening to this interview based on your journey and experience, what tips or advice would you give them to overcome obstacles, accomplish their goals, and rise to the challenge?
Yeah, so what I say is, when I look back at conquering obstacles, you do tend to go into your internal self. You worry, you get stressed, you get anxious, and you have self-doubt. Whereas you put so much energy into that, telling yourself that you're failing or that you're not going to achieve something. It's the exact same energy to tell yourself that you can do. It's the exact same energy to say that you're not going to give up. So if you're going to struggle and you're going to face obstacles, you may as well struggle through in the most positive way that you possibly can. And that's something that's so important. Is, look, we will all, you and me, Alex, will have, you know, so many struggles in life that we need to conquer. But we are in the entrepreneurial world, or as high performers, we know that the light's at the end of the tunnel. You know, we know that this bit of struggle is the pathway to that next element of success. And that's the great thing about struggle, is when I go through tough times, I know that there's going to be one day, or there's going to be one moment where that struggle is going to just go away. And I'm going to realize, I'm going to look back and say, oh, that's why. that's why I had to struggle on that, is to get here. I think that's the beauty of hard times and tough times, is taking you to great times. It's taking you to better times, and that's why struggle is so important. We need it. If we didn't have struggle, I mean, life would just be easy, wouldn't it? And sure, an easy life isn't very entertaining or exciting. So I think that's definitely important. And what was your other question? Sorry.
Overcoming obstacles, accomplishing their goals, and rising to the challenge.
Yeah, accomplishing your goals. So the way we do it with clients, in regards to goals, is we set the goal and then we forget about it.
Yeah.
That's it. That's as simple as I can put it, because the goal is where we want to get you to, but right now we need to perform the steps today. Okay, and that's where people really forget to take action. They forget to be proactive in their days. Whereas, yes, the goal is so important, but we need to forget about it, because today we're not there. So there's certain steps that we need to conquer. So I always say, look, set your goals, absolutely, but then forget about them. Just focus on being proactive and being accountable today, being present today. That's where you will, each day that you take these small steps and get closer and closer to that end goal. And I think that's why I'm majorly a part of the high performing entrepreneurial industry, is because I can get people to do the work today. Mm-hmm. We can set goals, of course, and set targets, but we need to work today. It's you need to be proactive today, and that's where I suppose I really do support people.
I think even the world today, we're so accustomed to, oh, that goal is going to take too long to accomplish. We don't want to do it. And I think if you just start today, it works. I think I've always had that struggle where, oh, fitness, weight loss, but I would start it and then I would stop it because I'm like, this is going to take too long. But I've been on that journey for the last year, and I'm like, it's been the best experience, because you look at that struggle and then look at the accomplishments you've gotten to all the way to here, and you're like, I can do anything now. I just got to put my mind to it. So I think as long as people get away from being accustomed to, oh, it's going to take too long, everyone's going to be able to accomplish anything that they want to.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's, I mean, I always think acceptance is important, because if you accept who you are now, that's important, is because, yes, we want to look better, and you should want to look your best and feel your best. But when you accept who you are now, and accept that your body will, your body's going to change, how you look's going to change, life's going to change, and once you accept that, but you're trying to be better, whether it be weight loss or weight gain, or maybe you're trying to perform at a higher level in health and fitness, or maybe you're trying to reach targets. If you accept where you are now and understand where you are now, and then you're right, take action, be an action taker. Because again, I know we talked about social media. There's a lot of gurus talking about visualization, and it's important to use your imagination, but none of that. Trying to feel like you're successful, feeling and visualizing, it's not going to get you there. You need to still take action. You still need to be an action taker, and that's so important. Yeah.
Well, Shane, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show and talking about your rise to the challenge. You're inspiring so many people, and we're excited to see what the future looks like for you.
Thank you for your time, Alex. I really appreciate it, and I hope everybody enjoyed our chat.